Hey there, West Metro Denver. I'm John Bulick with the Summit Team, and this is your February housing market snapshot. Real numbers, real context, and none of the national clickbait headlines you hear about the housing market. This is what's actually happening right here in West Metro Denver. And this month, the numbers are sending a really interesting signal. Buyers are gaining negotiating power again, but well-priced homes are still selling very quickly. So today I'm going to show you exactly where the leverage is shifting in our market. Let's jump in. First, let's look at supply coming into the market. We saw 909 new single-family homes hit the market in February. That makes this the highest February for new listings since 2019, and much closer to what we used to consider a normal in the pre-COVID market. So why does this matter? More homeowners are finally deciding to move again. For the past couple of years, many sellers stayed put because they were locked into ultra-low mortgage rates. But life events, they still happen. Job changes, downsizing, growing families, and those moves are slowly bringing more inventory back into the market. For buyers, that means more choice and less pressure to rush into a decision. Now let's look at what's actually available for buyers today. There were 1,252 homes actively for sale in February. That's almost identical to February of last year, and it's still the second highest February inventory we've seen in over 10 years. So what does this tell us? We are no longer in a shortage market. Buyers now have options, and when buyers have options, they become more selective. For sellers, this means pricing and presentation matter more than they did a few years ago, when homes sold almost instantly. Pending sales tell us what buyers are actually choosing. 760 homes went under contract in February. That's actually stronger than the past 3 Februaries and very similar to what we saw from 2020 through 2022, although still lower than the more aggressive market activity we saw before 2019. So why is that important? Demand hasn't disappeared. Buyers are still out there and still making offers, but they're being more thoughtful and strategic about it. Homes that are priced correctly and show well are still moving quickly. Homes that miss the mark, they tend to sit. And in a minute, I'll show you the number that tells us why buyers suddenly have more negotiating power. Now let's look at the homes that actually completed the journey. 595 homes closed in February. That's a slight increase compared to 2023 through 2025, but still lower than what we saw in the years before that. So what does this reflect? A couple things may be contributing here. First, mortgage rates have eased slightly, which brings some buyers back in the market. So second, warmer winter weather often gets more people out touring homes earlier in the season, which can bump activity a little sooner than normal. But overall, we're still seeing a market where buyers are cautious and deals take more time to come together. Now let's talk about how fast homes are actually moving. The median days on market dropped to just 15 days in February, which is much closer to what we've seen the past few years. That's a big change from January's unusually high 50-day average. So why does this matter? This shows that seasonality is still very real in real estate. January tends to be slow, but once February arrives and buyers start looking again, well-priced homes can still sell quickly. The key difference compared to the pandemic market is this: homes can still sell fast, but only if they're priced correctly from the start. So homes are still moving, but the real question buyers and sellers care about is price. The median asking price in February was $724,900. The median close price was $660,000. Asking prices are slightly lower than last year, but overall they've shown a gradual upward trend over the past few years. Close prices, however, have been slowly trending downward during that same period. So what this tells us is there's a gap between seller expectations and buyer reality. Many sellers are pricing homes based on past market highs, while buyers are negotiating based on today's conditions. That's why we're continuing to see price reductions and negotiated deals before closing. Homeowner reality check. One thing homeowners in West Metro Denver should keep in mind right now: we're seeing a growing gap between asking prices and final sales prices. That usually tells us some homes are still being priced for yesterday's market instead of today's condition. Yeah, I said it again. The homes that are priced correctly from day one are still selling quickly. The ones that miss the mark are often the ones that sit or expire. While some homes can sell quickly, others quietly fall off the market. We saw 117 listings expire in February, which is fairly similar to the past few years and still slightly higher than what we saw before that. So why is that? A lot of these expirations come down to three things: overpricing, poor presentation, expectations that don't match today's market. In a balanced market, the market doesn't correct those mistakes for you anymore. Strategy matters. If you want to understand whether the market favors buyers or sellers, this next number is the one to watch. We are currently sitting at about 2 months of inventory. For the past year, we've generally hovered between 2 and 3 months of inventory, while historically, February was closer to 1 month of supply. What this tells us is we're operating on a much more balanced housing market than we've seen in years. It's not a crash. It's not a frenzy. It's a market where buyers and sellers both have leverage, but only if they understand the numbers. So when you step back and look at all these numbers together, whether you're in Wheat Ridge, Arvada, Lakewood, or Golden, the picture is this: the market isn't slowing down, it's normalizing. Buyers have more options and negotiating power than they've had in years. Sellers can still succeed, but the days of simply putting a home on the market and hoping for multiple offers, they're really mostly behind us. In today's market, pricing, preparation, and strategy make all the difference. If you want a deeper look at how these trends affect your specific neighborhood or your next move, drop market in the comments or reach out directly. I'll put together a custom breakdown and show you exactly how to use this data to your advantage. I'm John Bulick with the Summit Team, keeping you one step ahead in the ever-changing West Metro Denver real estate market.